Okay, Ooze Paladin. Well, this is the deck list. I'm going to go over the cards one at a time and kind of explain why they're in here and what they're used for. Start, Aldor Attendant. Both Aldor Attendant and Aldor Truthseeker integral to the deck. You always want them in your opening hand. Aldor Attendant became a lot better when she became a 1-drop, because now you can play her turn 1, and you'd gladly play her turn 1 straight into Hand of Adal. Super good. Uh, Rocket Og Merchant. So this is one of your combo pieces for Underbelly Ooze. Underbelly Ooze, the whole point of the entire deck is Underbelly Ooze. It all revolves around this card. Well, your end game all revolves around this card. The beginning and mid-ish of the game play the exact same as normal Libram Paladin with a couple of early cards to help you not lose board control. And we'll talk about that combo here in a second. You don't want this in your opening hand. You have ways to tutor it. You also don't want to play it turn 1 usually, or turn 2, turn 3. Sometimes if you're against aggro, you may use it to ping off a dude if you're desperate because you know you're not going to get to the late game. Blood Mage, draw. It's a better loot hoarder. It's in here because it's got 1 health and it draws you a card. Potentially useful with the spell damage, but usually not. Hand of Adal. Actually don't keep this beginning unless you know for sure that you're going to have Aldor Attendant. Otherwise, just turn it back. It's a great card, but it sometimes usually ends up being a dead card because if you don't have something turn 1, there's nothing to really put it on turn 2, and you're usually just using hero power. And in turn 3, you're usually playing some kind of 3-drop, so it just sticks in your hand for a while. It does nothing. But very good card. A lot of the 2-cost cards that are in here, like Hand of Adal, Light Forged, Blessing, Wild Pyromancer, can combo in with the Underbelly Ooze. So very useful in that sense too. Also just all around good card. You know, it's cycle, it's good. Libram Wisdom. You want to keep this in your opening hand. Aldor Attendant, Aldor Truthseeker, and Libram Wisdom are what you're looking for. This is the money of the deck. This is the crux. This is what you want. You want to get it as soon as possible. You want to abuse it as much as possible. You want to use it on all your minions. It's really good if you have a wide board. You can buff a minion, trade it, get it back, buff a minion, trade it again. You bring it down to 0 cost, and then you can exploit it very well. We'll talk about in a second the 2 combos you can do with it with Underbelly Ooze, but the first combo I'll say right now is you play Underbelly Ooze, play down all the Librams that you have in your hand. Usually it's going to be 1 or 2. You can play down Rocket Og Merchant. Rocket Og Merchant pings Underbelly Ooze, which makes a copy of it, and then it gives it Rush. Now you have 2 Oozes. One of them doesn't have Rush, one of them does, but they both have all the Librams that you put on it. He can then rush into an enemy minion, which spawns another copy because he'll survive the damage and do it again. Sort of like a Batterhead, but you make it yourself. This combo becomes really good the more health that Underbelly Ooze has, which is why things like Hand of Adal can be useful. Also, just we have ways of multiplying our Librams, so maybe the second time you do the combo, you put like 5 Librams on him instead of just 1 or 2, which makes him a big boy. Lightforged Blessing. Turns out this is a very good card, but a terrible card to run 2 of because you just have a ton of them in your hand at the end of the game. So that's why I only run 1. This is basically 2 cards in 1 anyways. It's pretty good you can use with Underbelly Ooze in the combo because the normal combo is just 8 mana with Rocketeer and Underbelly, so you can toss in a Lightforged Blessing for a huge health swing. It's also a pretty good combo with Wild Pyromancer. He procs once. Sometimes you can use both Lightforged Blessing on twice to do a nice Consecration plus full health regain. Really good against aggro decks. Margurgle, very strong card. Just a solid card to put in the deck in general. It has good synergy because it also has 1 health, which comes into effect whenever we're playing Solhet's Pride. Not often is it useful for you to go into the late game, but if you're going against priests or other control-heavy decks, you can use the Magurgle Prime as a nice swing turn. Wild Pyro, very good card. It's good for board clear against aggro. It's good for board clear against mid-range and control when in conjunction with Libram of Justice. It's good for proccing Underbelly Ooze. It's the second part of our big combo. So another combo you can do, play Underbelly Ooze, play Rocket Og Merchant, you play Wild Pyromancer, then you play Libram of Wisdom on the Ooze that has Rush. That'll spawn a copy of them because Wild Pyromancer will ping everything. You'll have 4 Oozes. The Oozes that you have with Rush, you can use one of them to attack a minion and let it die. You'll then get another Libram Wisdom, which you can cast on Wild Pyromancer and repeat over and over again. So you cast on the Wild Pyromancer, make a new one, rush him in, kill him, get a Libram Wisdom, cast on Wild Pyromancer, etc. You keep doing that until you know you don't have any minions you can run into and die. Then you use your last Libram Wisdom on Underbelly Ooze, which will kill off Pyromancer, giving you 2, 3 Libram Wisdoms back, which you can then all cast on your Ooze that's still alive and rush into more things. It's a pretty crazy combo. It only takes 4 cards. The normal combo takes 3 cards, so it's nice to slot in and not a dead card if you don't use it to board clear earlier in the early game, mid game, or late game. Bronze Explorer, good 3-drop, good for some life gain against the aggro decks, good to just find an answer. That's really good, mainly just to fill out your curve. You're going to be playing it turn 3, and you're probably going to be looking for a 4-drop because we don't have that many 4-drops. Or if you know that you're going to coin out Aldor on turn 4, then you can look for a 5-drop. Or maybe if you know you got, for instance, a 4 and a 5-drop ready to go, you just try to find the card that's going to fill in for your next couple turns. Salhet's Pride, good draw. Paladin doesn't have very good draw right now. This is a good slot in. We don't have Acolyte of Pain anymore. We have some other options that I've tried, like Blessing of Wisdom or Auctioneer with Libram Wisdom, but it just doesn't end up being that good. He's a good 3-drop that you can just throw down. Yeah, he could get pinged off, but then you get 2 more cards in your hand. Specifically, it fishes for one of our combo pieces if we don't have it yet. So that's pretty good. You can be getting Murgle, you can be getting Thalnos, you can be getting Og Merchant, you can be getting another Salhet's Pride. So makes the deck a lot more consistent, filters things out. It's pretty good. Underlight Angling Rod, great card, great removal. Perk is you get a Murloc. I mean, sometimes your early game turns 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all just playing the Murlocs from this and playing it with McGurgle. It ends up just being a nice little package that has the upside of doing really well in the early game, but at the same time, it's just nice to be able to generate cards that aren't part of your deck that you can use to just do things when you're in early. Consecration, good board clear, good combo with Libram of Justice, good combo with Pyromancer even. Just good against aggro decks. It's necessary for Demon Hunters and sometimes Hunters too. Already talked about him, but keep him in your opening hand if you can. Even though he's a high cost, you desperately need to reduce the cost of your Librams. Specifically, you really need Libram Wisdom to be 0 cost for everything to work. If you get to the late game and this guy's still 2 cost and you have all your other pieces, you'll be a sad panda. Libram of Justice is a really good board clear. They changed it from 6 cost to 5 cost, which made it basically amazing. It's just an extremely strong card. 5 mana, kill the thing, and you can let the rest of your stuff ping off stuff. You're not too worried about your health, so it's okay to bop it with your face. You've got a lot of ways to get your health back. Hold on to it in against like Warlocks or Priests, because they're going to make a big board that you want to kill. Otherwise, you may just want to use it for tempo, because it's a really strong card. Oops. Lady Liadrin, necessary for the deck, specifically against people who will silence off your Librams of Wisdom, help repopulate your hand. It's not uncommon for you to just play Lady Liadrin to get 3 or 4 Librams of Wisdom back. That'll make your first Underbelly Ooze a really big boy, instead of having to wait for the second one. But basically, she's used to multiply your Librams of Wisdom. You can also bring some Librams of Hopes back, which is nice. And also, I guess, sometimes Hand of Adults, but that's not really what you're looking for. Sometimes, if you want, while you're playing the game, you can play Libram of Wisdom multiple times unnecessarily on minions, just so that way you add more Libram of Wisdoms to your Lady Liadrin pool, so that way it's more likely that whenever you play her, you'll just get a handful of Libram of Wisdoms. Caveat though, at the end game, you will have a really big hand, and it'll be tough not to overdraw and burn some cards. So before you use her and you start bouncing Libram Wisdoms everywhere, make sure you have all of the important cards in your hand, or that you make enough space where even if your opponent kills everything, that you won't burn potentially a Underbelly Ooze or another combo piece that you really need. We've talked about Underbelly Ooze, but he is the centerpiece of the deck. And lastly, Libram of Hope. Really good card. Really good against aggro. Nice swing. If you're able to play down Aldor Truthseeker early, brings it down to 7, which is usually a pretty good, like, turn 5, do nothing, turn 7, or turn 5 after you've already done one Aldor Attendant and Truthseeker, then you can put down the Libram of Hope, turn 6. Just really good tempo. Don't be afraid to use it when you're at full health, just so that way you can get an 8/8 with Divine Shield. It's pretty tough to deal with. And that's the deck. Let's go into some games.